Daddy, what are you doing?
We're recording a podcast.
Who's listening?
Islander fans are listening.
Where are they?
Well, they're right here.
Welcome to the Isles Faithful Podcast with your host, Michael Sherline.
Welcome back to the Isles Faithful Podcast. I am your host, Michael Sherline, as always, and this is episode 31. Joining me this week this episode, I should say, is Roger Luce of WBAB, Long Island. Roger, how's it going?
Good, thank you. Good to be on.
Thanks. I was making fun of myself for falling asleep in the abyss of my daughter's bed the other night. Sorry about that. It's not a good look for me.
Yeah. No, that's quite all right. You know, it's funny. I said to my wife, we had to reschedule it. I said to my wife, I said, Michael fell asleep in his daughter's bed. She started laughing. I go, I know. When my daughters were younger, they're 25 and 23 now. But when they were younger, I used to read to them at night. And I had this similar schedule. And at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I'd be reading a book, laying in one of those little, the kids' beds that are like a little low to the ground, a little small, because my daughters were really young at the time. And I would doze off while I'm reading. They'd be like, Daddy, open your eyes. And like sometimes I had memorized the books because we read the same books over and over. And so I could actually read them with my eyes closed. But then I'd fall asleep. So that's not good.
No. And I always tell my wife, too, I feel like my daughter's bed is way more comfortable than ours. And we just bought a mattress, but I hate it.
And sleep number, bro. Sleep number bed.
I'm gonna let her.
It's the best.
I'm gonna let her listen to this because I've been really pushing for one of those, but she's dead set against it. So
I've had it for 4 years. It's amazing.
Well, I'll have to.
I also, in full disclosure, I endorse it on BAB. So I'm just saying. But it's honest. I mean, I'm sitting on it right now. We've had it for 4 years. It's great.
I will again let her listen to this. She's only listened to one episode, and that was the episode I posted this morning with Super Jack. I don't know if you got a chance to see all that awesome stuff what the Islanders did for him with meeting Robin.
I saw you mention it on Twitter. Yeah, I saw you mention it on Twitter. Oh, and I saw the picture. Yes, of him meeting Robin. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was great.
It's awesome. He was on NHL Now this afternoon with his mom. So he was talking to EJ Radick and everything, and it was pretty cool. Wow. It's good things. They're doing a walk in May also that I'm gonna totally get behind and try to get some rallying things for them there.
Yeah, good.
So obviously, I wanted to have you on for your ties to the New York Islanders, and for those that don't know who are listening, Roger is or has been the longtime voice in the arena that you would hear for penalties, for goals, for everything else. So he's got a pretty unique experience in that. So I'm gonna kick over to him, and he's gonna let us know how long he's been.
We just scored a nice goal. Nice. Sorry.
Yes, we did. Wow. There's like a weird delay over on my end, but yes, I just saw that.
Oh, you got it like 2-3 seconds after I did.
Yes.
See, I have maybe we have a little more bandwidth over here in East Islip. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you know what it is? It takes a really long time for those packets to get all the way out to East Hampton.
Right. Oh, is that where you are?
Yes.
Oh my God. No wonder it's 3 seconds delayed. Yeah, that's it.
The speed of light, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that was just a nice. Oh, what a nice pass, nice goal. That was awesome. So it's been I've been doing it since '98, and actually then we were up in the press row at the old Coliseum. The first 2 seasons, I announced from up next to the organist and really far away from the off-ice officials, and that's just the way it normally was. And then it kind of got around the NHL about putting the PA announcer down in between the penalty boxes, and man, that is the best job ever. Just that switch made the job just so great. It's already good, but made it great to have the best seat in the house. I sit actually on the red line, and there's nothing better than that, being able to see the puck going toward the goalie and knowing it's going in before he even sees it. Like that's the angle that we have, it's pretty cool. So I've loved hockey since I was a kid. And so having this job is, it's pretty amazing. So I'm very fortunate to be where I am. And I don't do as many games as I used to because of my schedule, but the games I get to do, I love to do. So I'm hoping to do a playoff game here and there. I don't deserve too many. Honestly, I didn't do that many games this year, but Alex does a great job, and he deserves all of them. But if I get a game at the Coliseum, I'd be thrilled. And then after that, he can have as many as he wants. But I'm hoping for one. We'll see if I get one.
He does do a great job. I will give him that. But when you're, I don't want to say like a purist, but I was a season ticket holder for a long time. I grew up in Bethpage, so I was like, 14 traffic lights from the Coliseum. I was very spoiled. A lot of people gave me tickets all the time when the Islanders weren't very good and they couldn't really fill the Coliseum. So I always went. We used those student tickets like they were going out of style early in the 90s there. So I've definitely gotten to experience your voice, plus working in construction for as long as I have. Obviously, we always listen to you and JP also.
Oh, nice. Thank you. That's
No
very
problem.
nice of you. Thank you.
No
I
problem.
appreciate that.
Classic rock, man. You got it. I have to say, it's the one thing that doesn't piss anybody off. So
yeah, it's good. It's amazing. We were just talking about the other day at work how like the music has lasted so long, and it's to think of the bands like the Stones touring, and they've done it for over 50 years. And there's a lot of bands like that. And even if the bands aren't around, the music still lives. And like, younger millennials are digging AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and the Stones and Zeppelin. How does that even happen? Like when we were kids, anybody who was a kid in the 70s or the 80s, think about if you thought music was cool that was 40 years old or 50 years old and from the 70s or 80s. You're talking about music from the 30s and the 40s? No way. That stuff was horrible, comparably. So it's incredible it's been around that long,
I think you could kind of, blame that on technology and the way that music sounded then, and you're listening to it on like not even a record, like on a phonograph, and the way that music sounded, not that it's bad, because I don't want to like bash on doo-wop and all that other stuff. And
no, every music has its appeal, no question.
And all that music all ties into each other because they take different things from different genres and sample and everything else and different sounds and things kind of just,
Yeah, there's something about rock though that it has some staying power. I don't know what it is. There's something that gives it a staying power, and maybe some of the music now will, maybe hip hop will. Who knows what will be still going on 20 years from now? That's already 20 or 25 years old.
I look at it like this. I'm a big fan of like even, like the 2000s type of rock, and what would they call that? New age, I guess, like Linkin Park and.
Newer rock, whatever they call it. It doesn't matter what they label it.
New rock, and some of
good
that,
or it's not.
Some of that stuff is 20 years old even now, and it's
exactly.
Wow, like what's going on here?
Yeah, the newer bands in quotes. Yeah, that's it.
So let's go back to Islanders hockey. So you do have a great seat there on the red line, and a lot of people have to be jealous for that, because you guys don't have people standing up in front of you like you do when you're behind the bench or even in the corner, because then you can't really see the puck when it's in the corner if you sit on the glass.
That's the one thing we miss, honestly, from those seats as well. When you're on the glass, we're on the glass. I can't see the corners to my extreme left and extreme right, but that's what the big scoreboard's for. It's all right.
Replays.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
So a lot of people wanted it, obviously, me to ask you if the move to Brooklyn was one of the deciding factors with your schedule and everything. So is that really a big part of it? Because I guess a lot of people do miss your voice.
Oh, that's very nice. I'm very humbled by that. That's really, really kind. And it's nice, by the way. I hear from a lot of people on Twitter, and when I am there, and I have for and over the years, and it's very nice. And as I said, humbling. But yeah, going to Brooklyn. As much as once I'm there, I really like the arena. From my point of view, I know some fans hate it, but whatever. The trip there and back makes doing a game about a 9-hour day. And that's why I can't do any during the week when we're, doing the Brooklyn games. It's just impossible with my schedule. I'm up at 4:15 and we do a radio show from 5:30 to 9 on BAB. And then we have 2 hours off and then we do a talk show in Tampa, believe it or not. That we've been doing for about 4 years now, and it's very successful, doing very well. So we're on from 11 to 2. So if I get out at 2 and skip a meeting or two, because we don't really get out of work till meetings and we finish promos and recording and all that stuff. We don't really get out of there till 3 because we do the show from Tampa, from BAB on Long Island. So we don't really get out of the BAB building until 3. By the time I get to Brooklyn, I got to be there by 4:30. It's impossible. And with the traffic and leaving, it just doesn't really work. And I haven't slept. I've been up since 4, and the next day I got to get up again at 4:15. So it's not really humanly smart. And so doing weekday games, it was a rare exception. I did one, and it really took a toll on me. So I was like, probably not a good idea. So I would do just weekend games at Barclays, and then this past year, my schedule was ridiculous. So even some of the ones I was scheduled for, I passed off to Alex, and then I asked, just give me just as many Coliseum games as you want. But Alex still has to get his share too. So I think I did maybe 13 or 15 games this year, and in the past, I did 38 or 39 off 41, but not now since the new schedule. It's just not possible, both with my work schedule and with the geographical location of Barclays. So I'll do as many as I can, as we go forward, as long as they'll have me. Because like I say, I love working there. I love the people there, and the gig is the best. So.
Now I want to touch a little bit before we go too far into like Islanders type things. What are some of the craziest experiences you've had down there? And I talked to you prior to recording. You're sitting in between both penalty boxes, and things kind of tend to get a little wild down there with the yelling back and forth after fights. And there's been water sprayed and water bottles thrown.
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
so what is like the most insane story that you can share with the listeners?
Let's see. And it's funny because it doesn't happen as much anymore. The players are it's really much more rare. The players are yelling at each other now. I think they all kind of made a deal, if we're going to fight, we're going to agree to it beforehand. There's no surprises. And, they're much more, friendly in the box. But in the past, like you said, the water squirting, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Brad Isbister, I think, with the water bottle squirts in the box. That was years ago. I wish I could remember who the other player was, but they were yelling at each other and squirting water from one penalty box to the other, and we're sitting right in between, and the water's landing on us. It was kind of funny. Then they threw the water bottles at each other. But the most probably absurd thing was one night Ty Domi was not feeling good. He was definitely playing sick. And that guy, whether you love him or hate him, he's a hockey warrior. And he got in the penalty box, and it was maybe the third period. It was later in the game, and he was like, "Man, I feel horrible." He goes, "I've been feeling bad the whole game." He's one of the guys, not many guys talk in the box, but Ty Domi definitely did in the past. And I just remember him being really sick, saying he felt sick, and all of a sudden he just went, blip, and he kind of puked a little bit on the floor of the penalty box. And then this is years ago, and he says, I wonder how much they can get for that on eBay.
That's great.
And that's when eBay was maybe, a couple of years in, or, whatever. It was a lot newer than now. It was a while ago. And, just that was very, it was a funny thing, and a quick comment by him, even though he was feeling horrible. And again, some of the guys come in and they're a little talkative, and like, it's just gotten lesser. Aaron Asham used to be in the box quite often, and he would be a very friendly guy in there too. No matter what's going on, tries to keep it light. Wayne Simmons from the Flyers would come in, and he talks a little bit, just I think out of frustration for getting a penalty, and he'll just sit there and talk. And not that we carry on whole conversations with these guys, because we're doing our jobs. We can't really, but a little word here and there is probably about it. But I think the water squirting and Ty Domi puking in the box is probably the two best things that happen in the penalty box.
Were there any players outside of the Islanders that were aware that you're a radio host?
I don't think the players really know. I don't think so. I don't think they realize. I'm just the guy that the guys who've been there a while probably just recognize me as one of the guys sitting there. And then the funny thing is, Alex and I kind of look alike in a way. We have the same male pattern baldness and similar facial hair. And so they probably, we're just a PA guy, so I'm not sure they even have any idea. So I used to actually, the only guy I really got to know was Michael Pekka, actually. Back in the day when he was the captain, we did like one or two appearances, like he would get paid to go to like a children's furniture store and appear there and sign autographs, And so I coincidentally happened to be there for BAB, and because it was the same client of WBAB radio. So we would be there. He was there. I was like, "Hey, Michael," and we got to talking, and he knew me from coming into the box. He knew I was there. He recognized me, and we got to talking. And then we would say hello in the rest of his time that he was there. So he's probably the one I got to know the most, which really doesn't say anything. It's not like I was over his house,
Yeah.
nothing like that.
Not hanging out in Huntington.
No, no. But I have gotten to know some really guys. Like I've known Jiggs McDonald a long time, longer than I like to admit. He used to do an AM sports talk show on an AM station that the owners of WBAB had a long time ago, GBB in Freeport. And I used to see him all the time when I was at the very beginning of my broadcast days. And he was the nicest man who always encouraged me, always nice. And I have a picture of me in the announcer's booth with him from a few years ago. Well, right before the team went to Barclays. And Jiggs to this day remembers me by my first name.
Wow.
It's like, what a guy, man. He's just, Jiggs is awesome. So
I was able to meet Jiggs a couple of times myself. Because I don't know if you remember, I was credentialed by the team for a number of years, and I got to experience a whole bunch of really cool things around the team, and Jiggs is one of them. Obviously, the Maven is being another big one. When Al Arbor came in for that 1500th win, I was there for that, and I have photos with him and stuff. And as a member of the media, you obviously kind of have to play things low key and not ask for autographs and everything. And
right.
Absolutely. In a sense, I kind of regret not being able to do stuff like that. But in another way, I'm so blessed in that I got to see things in a different eye, with a different eye and in a different light. It was just really cool.
Yeah, you saw people behind the scenes, seeing Butch at dinner, things like that when you're credentialed is great. I actually carpooled with Butch for the last couple of years, and that is like an absolute pleasure. He is just awesome. I love it. A couple of the off-ice officials and me and Butch would carpool to Barclays. So it was always good to see him before the game, but then after the game too, we're driving home and he's got his phone out and he's watching the end of every game. And, he's like doing almost like analysis as he's watching. Oh, that's a horrible play, whatever. And it was the best ride home ever, as Butchie would do analysis of games. It is great. So, he's another guy I've gotten to know who's just a real nice guy.
I love listening to Butch as much as sometimes he may stumble over the words here and there. Yeah. I think it just adds to like the whole aura around him and the type of character that he is. But I have
right.
I have to add, how good is Brendan Burke?
Yeah. No, he's amazing. He's really amazing. And him and Butch together are, I think, really perfect.
I think I told Brendan this on Twitter. I said, you had really big shoes to fill when you came here.
It's true.
I think you outgrew them already.
Yeah, he is quite good. Really good at calling a game and painting a picture. Again, Howie was so good, and Howie does it with baseball. Oh my God, Howie does it with everything he does. But Brendan is very good at painting the picture at hockey, and him and you have to get a certain, knowing from how I work with JP every day, you have to have a certain chemistry and a certain back and forth, and you start to feel almost like in a band the rhythm of what's going on. The only thing is, the band rehearses the song. You're going live, so you guys have to just work off each other, almost like a jam band, and it takes a little while to get the chemistry, but those two guys, I think they've got it. And they are awesome to listen to. And even, and like I have to give a shout out to Chris King too, who I know him very well. We've known each other a long time in radio, and he is just ridiculous on the radio. I love the way he calls the game as well. I think we got a really good bunch of people calling our games, no matter how you want to see or hear an Islander game. I think you got a really good choice.
I listen, obviously, to Kinger every now and then, and I've had some good conversations with him over the years, and I've run into him in like really weird places. As a typical Long Islander would. You run into people all over the place. It's a big island, but yet it's a really small island in the same
absolutely there. Right. Yeah, that's true.
I obviously watch more on the telecasts. Every now and then, I might have like a hockey game myself or something where I'm going to listen on the radio. So I do really enjoy Chris King as well. He paints that same picture like Brendan, just in a way that
in a radio way
where you're on the edge of your seat while you're driving and you're gripping the steering wheel
so
tight. It's like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh God.
Yep. His excitement level's awesome. I mean, what's going on, and it really helps paint the picture with his level of excitement. You can almost stand up and if you were at the game, you stand up and you're out of your seat, and you can feel it when you're in the car. It's great. I mean, that's what professionals do. So yeah, we're pretty lucky to have all these guys.
So we'll go now into everything with the Islanders this season. What was your reaction, about Tavares, which you had a couple of great quotes for me for my blog, islesblogger.com. So we'll touch a little bit on that. We'll go into the Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello signings. And then, what
Yeah,
your
what quotes did I give you about JT? I don't remember. That was a while ago.
It was July.
Yeah. Oh my God. See? Yeah. I mean, I wish. Can you imagine if this team had his 45 or 47 goals, whatever it is now? Can you imagine if we still had him and all things being equal, everything else happened the same way? I mean, it wouldn't have, but it would be so cool. But like all fans, not thrilled with how the JT situation played out. But I guess I'm a little more forgiving than some people because I'll tell you, I think some of the stuff goes over the line. That's just how I feel. But also, he could have done the situation better. But, it's tough. You're in that, I've negotiated contracts and sometimes, you get dragged around by situations and sometimes it doesn't work out well. I don't know all the details of how it went, behind the scenes there. Nobody really does. But, he could have done it better. On the other side, some of it got a little ridiculous. But, this is sports. Players move all the time. It's always a very emotional thing to lose your star player who you invest in and who you, in a sports way, love. You put your heart and soul into that guy's heart and soul that he puts into the team. And so I think but it happens in sports. So it's heartbreaking. When Tom Seaver was traded from the Mets, it was brutal. It wasn't Tom's fault in that case. But, things like that, it kind of just gets you. It takes a little chip out of your sports heart a little bit. But, if he handled it a little better, it wouldn't be so bad. And I think the fans could have handled it a little better as well. But, fans are allowed to cheer and boo and carry signs and change their shirts to traitor and, whatever. It is what it is. And some of it was very funny. And we talked about it on the radio. And it's fine. And we move on, And I hope, we don't lose every game to the Leafs now. I hope it's not like a curse. Because it's been you almost feel like you pay a price. We won that game so big at the Coliseum when he first came back, and then we lost a couple poorly right after that, and then he beats us the other night. You're like, oh God. But I don't really believe in superstitions. I've been making it up.
I as a hockey player am very, very superstitious to the point where I was at the game Saturday against Buffalo and I had to wear the same shirt.
You're one of them, huh?
The same jersey, the same hat.
Yeah.
Because I went on Monday and obviously it didn't really work. But
yeah.
So let me know how you feel about Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz and the way the season's progressed. And we'll go quick through this because this is obviously
who doesn't like this? Who doesn't love what's going on here?
We've got 81 and a half games played here. So
yeah, I mean, how much progress has this team made in this 1 year? I mean, it's amazing. Really, really. I just, I wouldn't make believe that I know enough to be able to criticize these two guys because they're so good at what they do. And I'll tell you what, a personal story with Barry Trotz. I was at Billy Joel at the Coliseum and with my wife, and I got to the beer line, and who's standing right behind me but Barry Trotz? Like, Coach. And it was when he was, just in the house. He just got here. And so got to say hi to him. He was surprised I recognized him because nobody really recognized him at the time. It's a Billy Joel concert, so maybe not necessarily, hockey fans. And I was like, it's so great to have you here. And, he had, been here for a few weeks. He was, we got a lot of work to do. We'll be working on a lot of details. And I mean, that's exactly what you see is going on, right? We're getting 60 minutes. As in the past, I think that was a big criticism of the team, not playing full games. And now for the most part, you're getting an effort and a quality of play, I think, from this group of players. And I think Anders being a captain is a big thing. And Barry Trotz, I think, is a huge thing. And Lamoriello's brain behind it. As a fan with only, this thimbleful of knowledge, that's how I feel about it. I'm so happy with how it's gone.
I think the biggest change for me is how cerebral Barry Trotz is. Everything you hear about him, he is a student of the game, and he doesn't leave his office until late at night. He's constantly going over tape. And,
yeah, you got to like those kind of coaches, no matter what the sport.
You really do. And he's like a mixture of the best kind of coaches. He's a player's coach. He can get on his guys when he needs to. He knows when to push buttons and when not to. He knows when to give them a break. And he knows how to get them to respond to adversity, to when the game might not be going in their favor. How many times this season have they come back from 2 or 3 goals behind?
Right.
like they did in Winnipeg.
Right. That's a
last
big
week.
difference you see, right?
Yep.
That's a big difference you see, where maybe they would have not had the heart in the past, not had the ability to do it, and I don't know, they pick each other up now, and maybe he knows the right things to say, or it's months and months and months of being together and knowing that you got to give this guy everything because they know how much he's into it, and it flows. I don't know. I love it. I love the whole situation. And I love the fact that he's got, I don't even know if he really said the playoffs go through the effing island, but I love the fact that, there's quotes and there's memes, and Barry Trotz is funny when he thinks people are saying, are they chanting Barry sucks when they're chanting Barry Trotz? I mean, what a great guy, man. What a great personality, and, lighthearted, and he seems like he's the whole package. So
he definitely is. And he definitely 100% said you got to go through the effing island because it was on the Capitals ring
That's great.
Presentation to him in the locker room.
Oh, it was that night. Right. Yeah. So, over time, you start wondering, did he really say it, or has somebody made the meme and thrown it in there, and upgraded it a little bit? But, how great is that? How inspirational is that? I love it.
He, is a really, really great guy from everything that I can tell and everything I can gather. I don't believe that I have met him before, but there was a time at Champions when Nashville had come in. I got invited over there by some of the Islanders scouts and stuff after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introduced to a bunch of people from the Nashville organization. I believe it was the radio play-by-play guy and some of the assistant coaches. And I can't remember if Barry was there or not. And I feel like I would remember if he was.
Yeah.
But
I don't think so.
I mean, I was there. I was kind of blown away that I was even asked to go.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
But
yeah. And so then how great a season, right? If before the season they said, listen, let's say you finish with 99 points, we'd be happy. We'd all sign up for that back in the beginning of the season, So hopefully we get another 2 or 4 points, and we even go past that. What a great year.
It has been a fantastic year, and I know you guys probably have talked about it a bunch on the show. I know in the times that I've been able to catch you guys, because it's tough, especially now at work. I'm constantly like in a building, or because I work for the school district, so.
Yep.
If I do drive, it's only for 5 minutes between buildings, so I don't really get to listen all that often. I'm going to start making it a point to now that I've had you on.
That's it. 95.3 on the East End. Come on.
Yep. I do, like I said, it's on there. I do unfortunately listen to satellite a lot, and it's Sirius XM NHL radio for the most part. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that's good stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, what are your thoughts here now as we move towards through the last 2 games of the season? It looks like potentially they're going to be playing Pittsburgh. What are your feelings on that?
Pittsburgh, 2013. That's all. All I think about is, first thing I think is the game with how many penalty minutes was it?
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yep. And, I write out all those penalties on my score sheet because I have to announce them. And I was front and back of a sheet and another sheet. I never, ever, ever have had to do that since 98. So everything against Pittsburgh was always good. That's a great rivalry, just like with the Leafs, earlier on, like in 2002. Those are some great, great rivalries. So Pittsburgh's just another one. It's going to be a tough series, no question about it. But this is a different team. This is I don't know. Bring it. Whatever anybody's got, just bring it. This team, I can't wait to see what they can do. I really can't wait to see it.
To me, I think the most exciting thing matching up with Pittsburgh this time is how their defense is a little questionable. You never know what Matt Murray's going to bring. He could either be on fire or he could struggle a little bit. He is a great goaltender, so they have to be wary about that. But if you were to take this team and put them against Pittsburgh the last time they played them in the playoffs, where maybe a little extra goaltending, if the goaltending was there and the defense was there, we could have maybe pushed them.
Maybe
this could be the year that they're going to hopefully steamroll Pittsburgh. I know I would love that. They've proved this season they could shut down Malkin and Crosby. The only person that really worries me is Letang.
Yeah, he always does. He's killer, man. He kills us all the time, forever. I always feel like he's the guy I know Crosby scores. I know Malkin scores, but for whatever reason, I feel like Letang is always like a thorn in your side, And
it's always from like the blue line, like a little floater or something. He sneaks it through there. And
he's a good player.
He always looks surprised that it even goes in.
That's funny. Yeah, well, whatever it is, the teams change and morph, and we know what we have this year. So whatever the uniform, like, it really doesn't matter what happened, 6-7 years ago, or, I never think that's a big deal. It's who's playing right now, and how we're rolling. So I hope these last 2 games, we just keep some good positive play, solid play going, win or lose, but solid forward-looking play, and maybe get some momentum going into the playoffs, and then then the second season begins.
Absolutely.
And I think this team has just, awesome potential. And let's see what they can do. They surprised us in the regular season. Let's see what these guys got, and let's see what they can do in the postseason.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's why you're the radio pro, and I'm the podcaster who has 31 episodes under his belt.
Nice, 31. That's awesome. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, 31 right
Keep
now.
at it.
This is 31. So
Yeah. Keep at it. That's awesome.
all right. Well, hopefully we have a nice long run here. I appreciate you giving me the time 2 times to
My
come
pleasure.
on.
No problem, Michael. My pleasure. Absolutely. Keep up what you're doing. Good job.
Thank you. I will. I'll tag you on this when I get it up, and I will.
Please do.
I'll be listening to you tomorrow.
Nice. Thank you.
We'll listen to see who the player of the game is going to be for Saturday.
That's right. Islanders player to watch. Yeah, very cool. Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. Hey, real quick, let everybody know where they can follow
Mm-hmm.
you on Twitter and everything about the show if they don't already know. I mean, if you're a Long Islander, you should know what WBAB is and who Roger and JP are.
Yeah. On Facebook, of course, it's our radio station is 102.3 WBAB in general, and then I'm Roger WBAB on Facebook. On Twitter, Roger WBAB. I also have another account called Roger on the Radio, because we have that second show in Tampa, which is going to be so weird during the playoffs, but whatever. I got to deal with it. We have a lot of, our radio show has a lot of fans in Tampa, and we've gotten to love that city and know those people. And I have a lot of respect for the Lightning, obviously. I think everybody does. But if we end up going far enough to play the Lightning, it always gets sticky having 2 audiences. But you can get me there, and
you could do a live show
Yep.
right there from the Amalie Arena. How crazy would that be?
Yeah, I know. How ridiculous was that? Oh my God! I'll tell you what. The 2 times I've been there, we had a great time, great experience there. They do a good job there, really good job as far as the fan experience goes. But and then I'm on Instagram too at Roger on the Radio. So I'm around. I'm doing my thing, and on the radio, 102.3 FM. And on where you are in East Hampton, on the east end of the island, 95.3 FM every morning, Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 9. So busy, and that's good. I've been doing this a long time. I like being busy. It's better than the opposite.
All right, bud. Thank you very much for coming on. Again, if you don't know where to find my show, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on Podbean, we're on TuneIn, we're on some other type of things, Spotify. We're on YouTube. You could listen on the website, theilesfaithful.com. You can follow me on Twitter at IlesBlogger, and you can follow the show at Faithful Isles. We're also on the rest of the social media things that you could ever potentially want, which I probably don't use nearly enough, but it is what it is, right? So, Raj.
Great, Michael. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, bud. Let's go.
Okay,
Islanders.
thanks. Let's go, Islanders. See ya.